Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, the podcast. Today, we're going to do something a little fun. Every year, I do my Here Are the Legends I Want to See in MLB The Show, whatever year it is, 25, podcast. We're doing that today, but today, we're doing it with technology. I have asked Grok AI to tell me which legends should be included in the game. A surprisingly interesting list. It didn't 100% listen to the prompts, so we're going to have to weed some things out. But, yeah, this is going to be fun. And we're going to keep learning as the weeks go by, the new legends involved in the game. So we'll see if we're right or wrong. Or AI, if it's right or wrong on some of these things. But, yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. So thank you guys for being here for another week. Uploads happening all the time, given the news cycle. So make sure you subscribe if you're new here. But I'm not going to waste no more time. I'm going to get right to it. We're going to click on that. We're going to go here. It's already on the page. We're clicking this. Alrighty then. So here is exactly what I asked Grok. Please, always say please, gotta be nice, it gives you better answers. Please give me one legend player per team who played between 2000 to 2009, because that's allegedly the time span in which SDS is focusing, who is not currently in MLB The Show, that should be included in the new MLB The Show 25 game. You kind of have to speak to it like you're a computer, because it is a computer. So, we're going to go one by one. It gave us every team. It went alphabetical. There are, unfortunately, some players currently in the game. It did not fully listen. But that's where will come into play. The human being with the brain. We start with Arizona. Byung-Hyun Kim. How interesting would that be? Known for his unique submarine pitching style and pivotal roles in the early 2000s, including being part of the 2001 World Series team. I like this. This is fun. Byung-Hyun Kim would be cool. We need reliever help. Sidewinding reliever. I don't know if it's easier or harder to get players' rights from overseas. Might not be. It might be the same. But, yeah, that'd be cool. I think I've suggested him before. Like, the Diamondbacks don't necessarily have, like, a deep history of players because they are one of the newer Major League franchises. But I think that's fun. I think Byung-Hyun Kim is cool. Moving on. And I think a lot of people agree with this one. Atlanta Braves, Andrew Jones, a dominant center fielder. You should be arguing that he's a Hall of Famer. With exceptional defensive skills and power at the plate, he was a key figure in the Braves' success in the early 2000s. Yeah, when he was in the game, kind of a fan favorite card, more specifically in BR. I never saw him get a lot of run in ranked, probably because the outfield is usually so deep. And Andrew Jones, if built like he should be built, is probably going to be a little lower on the contact, a little lower on the vision, but his power is insane. He's literally one of the best defensive center fielders ever. If you look at like the first 10 years of his career, he's a unicorn. Yeah, I know he has some off-field stuff. You can use your own judgment if you think that would preclude him from being in the game or not. But either way, Hall of Fame caliber player for sure. Here's where we get into our first hiccup. The Baltimore Orioles, they suggested Rafael Palmeiro. Well, you silly goose, he's already in the game. So I'm going to give two options here. One of them you certainly associate with the Orioles, and the other one maybe not as much. The first one, Melvin Mora. Who remembers Melvin Mora? He might have been like one of the most quietly consistent, but also really very good baseball players. Third baseman, more of like not a contact slappy guy, but certainly more of a doubles guy versus a home runs guy. I think he had a couple 100 RBI seasons. At the very least, he had one. It was during a few down years of Orioles baseball, so people might not remember him, but that'd be cool. That'd be cool. And the person that I don't think we associate with the Orioles, but we probably associate with the team we just talked about, the Braves. Give me Javi Lopez. We need more catching depth. We could always use more catching depth. He had a historic season during one of those years. I don't know which one off the top of my head. I'm sorry. But power guy, and would be fun. That's where it stops. I don't really know much about the intricacies of Javi Lopez's game, other than the fact that he was a home run hitter. And it's always nice to have extra catchers. Moving on to the Boston Red Sox. Everyone who had been asking for Manny got their wish. So Grok went with Curt Schilling, Hall of Fame caliber pitcher. His legendary performance in the 2004 postseason, particularly in the bloody sock game, makes him an iconic figure for the Red Sox. He for sure is a very iconic pitcher. I don't know if I'd call him an iconic human, but he's an iconic pitcher for sure. Out of the Red Sox, like, I think Nomar is still very much, now that Manny's here, like, Nomar is the top of my list. Co-top of my list with Ted Williams. We've had Ted Williams before, but they are co-top of my list for Red Sox. Schilling would give us pitching depth, however. He also fit multiple theme teams: Orioles, Phillies, Diamondbacks, Red Sox. Was he a Cub? I'm going to check really quickly. I feel like he was. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Was he a Cub? I don't know why that's sticking in my head. Curt Schilling was a pitcher. Okay, the Wikipedia page, you got to open the full thing. He pitched for the Orioles, Astros, Phillies, Diamondbacks. Not the Cubs. There's the Astros. Why did I think he was a Cub? Sorry, I don't know. But yeah, Curt Schilling. Next, Cubs. Yes. Good job, AI. Aramis Ramirez. I'd argue it's him and Derek Lee from this time period. Also, I understand before Ted Williams not from this time period, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, he's near the top of my list. But in terms of the time period, Aramis Ramirez, consistent power hitter, fan favorite. I think he's more than just a Cubs fan favorite. I think a lot of people have come to appreciate Aramis Ramirez's career and his peak. More third base talent, that's always appreciated. From a fun era of Cubs baseball, I think it's a home run. I'm hoping to be surprised when I see Aramis Ramirez pop up as a legend. Please, 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 please. Now, the White Sox, they made a boo-boo. A few boo-boos in a row here. 4, 5, 6 boo-boos in a row. AI ain't perfect. It's learning. We got to fix this. For the Chicago White Sox, they suggest Frank Thomas. We know the big hurt is in the game. I'm going to go with somebody I say every year, and I'm going to keep saying it till he's in the damn game. Maglio Ordonez. His peak was probably best known as a Tiger, though he was quite good with the White Sox. Power hitting, was he a left fielder? I think he was a left fielder. Power hitting left fielder. Also might have led the league in hitting, or he was certainly like a legit batting average guy too, if that's your game. I think he'd be an all-around type of card. His best card, whatever it would look like, would be really good. And yeah, he's a fun name. Give me Maglio. Cincinnati Reds, they suggest Ken Griffey Jr. You silly goose, he's in the game already. The Reds. Is the default for this always Frank Robinson? I think it should be. Multi-league MVP, Hall of Famer, home run hitter, also excellent manager for whatever that's worth. I mean, when are we getting Frank Robinson in the game? It's got to be soon. It's time. It's absolutely time. Give me Frank Robinson. Oh, but he's not of this era. Ooh, sorry. If we're sticking in this era, if that's the specificity we're going with here, doesn't change the fact I still want Frank Robinson. Early 2000s Reds. Is it just Brandon Phillips? Give me that dude, BP. I don't know if he's probably more towards the ass end of this window we've created for ourselves, 2000 to 2009. But I think Brandon Phillips would be fun. I don't know if he'd ever... he had some phenomenal seasons, don't get me wrong. I just don't know if he's like a super 99. But maybe with the power creep, we don't need that anymore. Maybe we don't need super 99s all the time from every hitter. So yeah, let's go Brandon Phillips. Let's have fun. Let's do that. Cleveland, Jim Thome. In the game already. Unused by many people. Which is kind of surprising, but I think his vision is just not that good. So, Jim Thome, Cleveland. Ooh, who played for Cleveland during that time? Probably a lot of guys I'm just completely ignoring off the top of my head, because weren't they pretty good? They were good in the late 90s. I can't remember if that trickled into the early 2000s. Let's go with... Are you guys ready for a weird one? Younger folks who listen to this podcast might not even know who this is. I don't know why this is the first name who came to my head, but it gives us bullpen help. Big Bob Wickman. If I remember the story correctly, Bob Wickman threw a hellish sinker because part of his fingertip was cut off or something. He would fall more in line with just a funny, interesting fella to have in the game who probably would cost a pack of chewing gum to get his rights. So... in the interest of saving money and diversifying our legend pool, let's go with Bob Wickman. I know people are probably going to say Roberto Alomar, Omar Vizquel. Those are certainly guys. Sandy Alomar, Albert Bell, like there are a lot of fellas. But let's go different. Let's be weird. Let's go Bob Wickman. It's not gonna happen, but why not? You can't make bold predictions unless you're bold. So let's make one. The Colorado Rockies, Todd Helton. He's in the game already. So I'm going, I think Tulo is probably after that time period. Let's see. When did Troy Tulowitzki begin his career? Because maybe we could just lie and make him part of this. For some reason, I feel like he started in 2012. No, 2000. Oh, he was like a legit player from 2007 to 2009. I mean, 2008 he got hurt, which he tended to do. He had a 6-8 B WAR season in 2007, and then a 6-5 B WAR in 2009. Okay, Troy Tulowitzki. I guess he's older than I thought. Let's go with Tulo. How much fun would he be to use? And how many folks would be in love if Tulo was in the game? I feel like, I don't know, do people forget about Tulo? I don't know if that's fair to say. But he falls into the what could have been category. Homie was always hurt, but he was electric. And I'd love him. I would love Troy Tulowitzki. Let's go with Troy. Tulo to the Tigers. They say Pudge. He's in the game already. And actually, people liked him a little bit this year. They started to use him. So the Tigers, does it just have to be Victor Martinez? I feel like it does. I feel like it has to be Victor Martinez, switch hitting catcher, which we need another switch hitter, like we need a hole in the head. But Victor is, think about the way I like my favorite cards offensively being built. Max contact, 100-ish power, high vision, clutch. That's Victor Martinez. In a nutshell, that's Victor. So I would have fun with it. He would for sure turn into a crutch card. He would be on the all bailout team, just like Carlos Santana, just like Ketel Marte. That's not a judgment if you use them. I occasionally use them. I'm just stating a fact here. But I do think Victor Martinez would be a fan favorite if we added him. Houston Astros, Craig Biggio. Have him already. So, do we go with another switch hitter? Because I have one in my head. Do we go with... Who was a good pitcher on those teams in that time? The Astros stunk up the joint during that time, didn't they? No, they had one or two good years. They were in the World Series once. The first place my head goes is Lance Berkman, which is that other switch hitter. But big power, was a face of those teams. Man, who else? Who was pitching on those teams? Why can't... That was Clemens and Pettit, really, right? And we have both of them. So, let's go with Lance Berkman. Just a different type of guy. More switch hitters, again. Like, we need a hole in the head, especially with the next name that we're about to read on this list. But I kind of like the idea of adding Lance Berkman. Next up, Kansas City. This is a good pick. Carlos Beltran. Good job, Grok. We're back. AI is back in our good graces. His all-around excellence during his Royals days, including an MVP caliber season, makes him a prime candidate. And you know what? I think you're perfectly correct. You've never been more correct. You put Carlos Beltran in this game, a whole smattering of fans from every team are going to be happy because we've wanted him back for a very, very long time. I know he's got some cheating stuff attached to him. I don't know if that completely eliminates him from the conversation. I could understand, I suppose, why you might feel that way. But he's Carlos friggin' Beltran. Put him in the game. Next up for the Angels, Garrett Anderson. That's a good call. It's someone we've had before, but it's been a minute, and no one used him. One of the best hitters in Angels history. Anderson's inclusion would be a nod to the 2002 World Series. Shout out to you, AI. Someone else from that team that I might give a nod to as well would be Darren Erstad. I've said his name before. He would be a different type of archetype as a first baseman, though he also played the outfield. He was like a no-power first baseman who hit for an exceptionally high average and was a, high 100s to potentially 200 hit guy who could run a little. So that'd be an interesting one. I worry that type of player wouldn't be used by the player base because everyone wants power. But if the game ever shifts to a little bit more of a, not contact-oriented game, but just a game in which contact is rewarded, maybe Darren Erstad becomes a player. But for now, we're talking Garrett Anderson. And I won't push back on that. I think that's a good one. The Dodgers, they suggest Eric Gagne. You silly goose. Eric Gagne is already here. So I'm going to go... There's 3 guys who I really associate with that era of the Dodgers. And if I remember correctly, the Dodgers weren't always super great during this time period. But I associate Andre Ethier, James Loney, and Matt Kemp. Though Matt Kemp is another one I need to look at because he, like Tulo, I can't recall when he actually began his career. He's 40 now. Same year. He and Tulo are the same, though Tulo had a better beginning to his career. I suppose we could consider Matt Kemp as part of this. Would people use Matt Kemp? It's been a few years since he was in. Was he in 20? Or was 19 his last year? I feel like 20 might have been his last year. You guys can fact check me down below. I can't remember exactly. But he was an MVP in the early 2010s. James Loney was kind of like Darren Erstad, just without the speed. He was a high average, high hit tool type of first baseman. And Andre Ether did a little of everything. I don't know why those are the 3 guys I associate with the Dodgers at that time. They just are. So yeah, throw them in there. Miami Marlins, Josh Beckett. That's a good one. Who else would it be, though? They say Josh Beckett was a key player in the 2003 World Series. Beckett's peak performance was during this era. I don't know would we call that his peak performance? He was pretty damn good with the Red Sox, too. Not that that disqualifies him from the Marlins. Edgar Renteria wouldn't be a bad idea. And again, we're gonna cheat again. All these players kind of blend into that late 2000, early 2010s type of thing. How about Hanley? When did Hanley start? Pretty much the same thing as Kemp and Tulo. He had 2 at-bats in 2005, and then 2006 was his first year. And he was electric from the start. Hanley Ramirez might be fun to bring home. Let's bring Hanley back. Bring back Hanley Ramirez. Josh Beckett and Hanley. Make them happen. Give the Marlins more depth of legend. Moving on. Milwaukee, Ben Sheets. Ooh, I like that. I skimmed this, so I'm not intimately aware of everybody chosen. I just saw a lot of duplicate players already in the game. But Ben Sheets, at his best, Sheets was one of the top pitchers in Major League Baseball with a Cy Young caliber 2004 season. I like that. I'd also argue Ricky Weeks would be some fun, though his peak was very short. We have Ryan Braun. Yeah, I mean, our options are slim here. During that era, the Brewers weren't... we have Sexton. Yeah, Ben Sheets. I love that. I think he's cool. I don't know what his pitch mix was, so he might end up stinking in this game, but, that's a future problem to figure out. Minnesota Twins, they gave us Torrey Hunter. Already have him. We also already have Mauer and Morneau. We also have Johan. So we've got all the main players here. Shannon Stewart was on those teams. Not Kirby Puckett. Nick Punto was on those teams. Jacques Jones was on those. I am naming some deep cuts for some of you. Who was that? Luis Castillo was their second baseman. Yes, the same Luis Castillo who dropped the pop-up against the Yankees. Who was their third baseman? Is it Corey Koski? Ugh. Can't believe I remember that. Is Francisco Liriano retired? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to say Francisco Liriano. I don't know if he's officially retired or not, but he's like the only guy I can think of. Unless we go like Eddie Gordado out of the bullpen. Steady Eddie. Maybe that's the move? I don't know. The Twins are a tough one. Because we have all the guys who would move the needle. From that era of baseball specifically. Because that's what we're sticking to. So, I mean, I guess we go with one of them. I wish AI would have helped me on this one. This one's hard. But let's do that. I'm a fan of that. Let's say Francisco Liriano and or Steady Eddie Gordado. Next up, the Mets, Mike Pizzaman. We have him already, though no 99. Which is odd, because I actually thoroughly enjoyed Mike Piazza's card earlier this year. Like, a lot. The Mets, early 2000s. Do we just say Jose Reyes? Is he the fella from that time period? Who else was on those teams? I suppose it is him. Yeah. Jose Reyes it is. Switch hitting shortstop, speed. Occasionally had some pop, though I wouldn't qualify him as a power hitter at all. Let's do that. Moving on. Yankees, Bernie Williams. Already got him, but I know already who I need. I yearn to have 2009 World Series hero Hideki Matsui, who also should have been the Rookie of the Year in his first year in the league. But I believe it was Angel Baroa who stole it from him. You bastard. So, Hideki Matsui, don't even need to describe why. Moving on. Oakland Athletics, Barry Zito. I've thrown his name out there before. His Cy Young Award in 2002 and his role in the Moneyball era make him a notable omission. I very much agree. But my concern with Barry Zito, and we've talked about this a little bit, his primary pitch is that big, looping, sweeping curveball, which was so effective in real life. The way the game is programmed, it ain't gonna work in this game, which basically means you're working with a low to mid-90s fastball pitcher with not much else. So, in a game environment in which the curveball is retooled to be a weapon, I'm here for it. Otherwise, I'm not so comfortable with it. Other guys that fit in that same exact era, though, Tim Hudson, Rich Harden. Where did Mark Mulder go? Didn't we have Mark Mulder last year? Suddenly, he's gone. So those, they were a pitching factory in those years. So any of them would work. I actually think Tim Hudson might be kind of neat. But yeah, listen, I'd be down with Barry Zito if curveballs are fixed. That's fine. The Phillies, Jimmy Rollins. Well, we've got him already. Where'd Shane Victorino go? I don't think people really used his cards, though. Brad Lidge? Do we have a Brad Lidge sighting? Let's do Brad Lidge. Give us some bullpen help. Hard-throwing reliever. Instrumental in a few teams, the Astros and the Phillies. Right? Was he a Philly or was he against the Phillies? Hold on. Now I'm second-guessing myself. He was for sure a Philly, right? Yeah, he was. Okay. I don't know what the heck is wrong with me. My brain is mushy bananas today. Astros, Phillies, National. He was only an 11-year career? Why did my man's not pitch longer? I guess he got a late start. Wow, he actually was not consistently good. Regardless, he had some high years. Brad Lidge. Go look up his baseball reference page. What a weird, interesting baseball reference page. I like Brad Lidge. The Pirates. Jason Kendall. He'd be a returning legend. And catching is weak. He doesn't really fit the catcher archetype because he can run and he's a contact guy. And even though I know we need catchers, and this is no disrespect to Jason Kendall, I want to pivot. I want to go to Brian Giles for the Pirates. Had some home run pop. Different type of player than what we've had for the Pirates before. And I would like that. And it's my video. So, moving on. The Padres, Jake Peavy. Yeah, where'd Jake go? Where'd Jake go? We only had him for a year. His Cy Young season in 2007 and consistent excellence deserve recognition in MLB The Show. I agree. The Giants, Tim Lincecum. Yes, AI. Yes. Tim Lincecum. With 2 Cy Young awards in the late 2000s, the freak would add excitement to the game. Hell yeah. Good job, AI. Love that. Seattle Mariners, Edgar Martinez. Well, you silly goose. We have him. So, the Mariners. Early now, this, we might be cheating on this one. And I'm allowed to cheat, again, because it's my video. Let's see. I will let you guys in on my industry secrets in a moment. Nope, that's not his Major League page. Why is Baseball Reference hurting me today? What have I ever done to you, Baseball Reference? Sorry, guys. There we go. It works. It's such a cop-out, but it works. Okay, Adam Jones of the Orioles, for sure, but he came up in 2006. He was a Mariner in 2006 and 2007, and he had his first All-Star season as an Oriole in 2009. So I'm saying it works. Obviously, his career extended well beyond 2009. I'd love Adam Jones. He's said visibly, publicly, I'd like to be in the game. Please put me in it. Fine people over at SDS. I hope they listened this year. So even though we don't associate Adam Jones with the Mariners, I believe he was involved in the Eric Bedard trade. Go look that one up, because that didn't work out. But yeah, let's go Adam Jones. 100%. The Cardinals, Jim Edmonds, have him already. All right, AI didn't do as great as I thought. They probably only got 50% of these teams right. The Cardinals. Is it just Pujols? Is it that easy? Do we just say Pujols? We probably just say Pujols. Albert Pujols, or like a not weird pitcher, but like someone no one talks about. Chris Carpenter. Chris Carpenter would be cool. But I also think it's Albert Pujols. That's the easy answer. The Rays, Carl Crawford. Yeah, he'd be fun. And I feel like his quick type of swing would actually play really, really well in this game. So Carl Crawford, his speed and hitting in the early 2000s, especially during the Rays' surprising 2008 run, yuck, are memorable. Can feel that. The Rangers, Alex Rodriguez. They know something. No, they don't know anything. Or maybe they do. A-Rod would be great. His time with the Rangers before moving to the Yankees was marked by incredible performances. Yeah, we'd have to have him. Just hard stop. We'd have to have him. At some point, he's got to get back in this game. The public outcry for him is too loud now to completely ignore, and he, along the lines of feasibility, is probably more feasible than Barry Bonds, though I say that with absolutely no background information on how A-Rod handles his business. But, I mean, Barry Bonds has been a tough fellow to work with, though he's being more public now. Next up, Blue Jays, Roy Halladay. So that's got to move. Man, the early 2000s Blue Jays weren't exactly sexy. Aaron Hill, Vernon Wells. Shannon Stewart also played for those teams. Second Shannon Stewart reference in this video. I mean, maybe the first two ever on this channel. Ricky Romero. Bet you don't remember that name. Who else remembers Gustavo Chacin? Though I don't remember exactly when he began his career. I mean, listen, I watch a lot of Yankees baseball, and during those years is when I was like a very captive audience Yankee fan, kind of like I've come back to being now. So I remember all of these weirdos. Greg Zahn. It's another one. Let's go with Vernon Wells. Let's go with Vernon Wells. I am screaming out some deep cuts in this video today. But Vernon Wells, he really defined that era of the Blue Jays for better or worse. He was an injury risk waiting to happen as well, but I also think he just had some down years. But when he was on, he was like a legit all-star caliber outfielder. So Vernon Wells would be nice. And then lastly, the Nationals/Expos, Vladimir Guerrero. You idiots. We have him already. I mean, were they even a real team? Do we just say Ryan Zimmerman? Jose Vidro, if we want to get weird. God, he'd be such an odd legend to just drop on us. I think Ryan Zimmerman would be the one everybody wants. Think. I mean, the Expos, Andres Galarraga. Bartolo Colon? He was an Expo, wasn't he? Livan Hernandez certainly was. Is this our backdoor way of putting Bartolo Colon in the game? Because that feels weird. Like he was not associated truly with any of these teams. He was an Expo for 17 games. How did I pull that out of my butt? 2002, at the trade deadline, he was moved from Cleveland to Montreal and pitched 17 games. Okay. I don't think he qualifies. That'd be a tough association to make. Let's just say Ryan Zimmerman, as he is the popular choice. And then this list ends with, please note, this list is based on players not currently in MLB The Show 25, as per the latest information available. Maybe this is so ahead of the game, it knows that these guys' rights are gone. What if Guerrero and Halladay and all these fellas are gone? I don't know. Probably not. Their status might change with updates or new releases. So it was wrong on, 47% of them, but otherwise this was a fun exercise. And I do think we named some cool names. So let me know what you think. This was a fun episode. Love you guys. There is a feature premiere or a feature something with RoFlow, one of the two, today. So a recap will be on the channel either tonight or tomorrow morning. I will push for tonight. I just can't promise that. So any new information that comes out today, Tuesday, you'll hear about it in whatever the next upload is. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for the incredible support. We're almost at 5,000 YouTube subscribers, and I hope we can get there by game launch. If you're new here, subscribe. Love you guys. See you next time.